It was a quiet morning near the busy city road. Cars rushed past, but no one noticed the small box lying beside the sidewalk. Inside the box, a tiny puppy cried softly, scared and alone in the noisy world. The puppy tried to climb out, but the box was too high for his weak little body. People walked past the box without stopping. Busy with their own lives, the puppy cried louder, hoping someone would hear him. Across the street, a young girl suddenly stopped walking. She heard the faint crying sound and looked around curiously. Slowly, she walked toward the small box beside the road. When she looked inside, her eyes widened with shock. The little girl carefully opened the box and looked at the tiny puppy shivering inside. The puppy tried to stand, but his weak legs trembled from hunger and fear. Gently, the girl lifted the puppy into her arms and held him close. The puppy stopped crying and slowly relaxed, feeling warmth for the first time. But suddenly, loud thunder echoed across the sky, and heavy rain began to fall. The girl looked around nervously as the rain quickly soaked the streets. She held the puppy tightly and ran toward a small shop nearby for shelter. Inside the shop, the puppy curled up quietly in her arms. The shop owner noticed them and brought a small bowl of milk. The hungry puppy drank eagerly, wagging his tiny tail for the first time. After drinking the warm milk, the tiny puppy finally stopped trembling and rested quietly in the girl's arms. The rain outside grew heavier, and the streets quickly filled with rushing water. The girl looked worried, realizing she could not leave the puppy alone again. She gently wrapped the puppy in her scarf to keep him warm and dry. The puppy looked up at her with grateful eyes, as if he understood her kindness. When the rain finally slowed, the girl stepped outside carefully with the puppy. Across the street, a small animal clinic sign glowed softly in the evening light. She hurried toward the clinic door, hoping someone inside could help the fragile puppy. A kind veterinarian opened the door and immediately noticed the weak little dog. The vet carefully took the puppy inside, beginning the treatment that could save his life. The veterinarian gently placed the tiny puppy on a soft table and began examining him carefully. The puppy looked weak and tired, but his small tail moved slowly when he saw the girl nearby. The vet listened to the puppy's heartbeat and nodded with a calm, reassuring smile. A warm blanket was placed around the puppy to keep his small body comfortable. The girl watched quietly, hoping the little dog would be okay. Soon, the vet prepared a small injection to help the puppy regain strength. After the treatment, the puppy slowly opened his eyes and looked much more relaxed. The girl gently touched his head, and the puppy wagged his tiny tail again. Seeing this, the veterinarian smiled and said the puppy would recover with proper care. For the first time that day, the girl felt a wave of relief and happiness. The little puppy rested peacefully under the warm blanket, finally feeling safe. The girl sat beside him quietly, watching his small chest rise and fall. After a while, the puppy slowly stood up on his tiny legs. He looked around the room curiously, wagging his tail with growing energy. The veterinarian brought a small bowl of food and placed it gently on the floor. Hungry and excited, the puppy began eating happily. The girl smiled with joy as she watched the puppy regain his strength. The veterinarian then asked the girl if she would like to take the puppy home. Without hesitation, the girl nodded happily and hugged the tiny dog. At that moment, the puppy finally found a loving home and a new beginning. The girl gently carried the puppy outside the clinic, holding him close to her heart. The rain had finally stopped, and the sky slowly began to clear. Soft sunlight appeared through the clouds, warming the quiet street. The puppy looked around curiously, his tiny tail wagging with excitement. The girl placed him gently on the ground, and he took a few playful steps. For the first time, the puppy ran happily around her feet. The girl laughed softly as the puppy chased after a small rolling leaf. In that moment, the lonely puppy had finally found someone who truly cared. Together, they walked down the street, beginning a new life side by side. Sometimes, a small act of kindness can completely change a life forever.